Good morning, LinkedIn community. Melissa Hinault here with you this morning. Just wanted to pop in and do a quick video about my journey. It's something I promised that I was going to do today for a lot of people. And so here goes. You know, my goal today is if I can just connect with even one burnt out corporate professional who knows there's got to be more. There's got to be more to this, and is looking to live life a little fuller, have a little more time personally, and grow professionally and break free from the corporate constraints and trading time for money. If one person listens to this and is open to hearing more, then this was totally worth it, because I was that person 4 years ago and it's completely changed my life. And so that's kind of where my mission and passion are today. And I'm really aligned to just casting that vision for corporate professionals, that they can take their skill sets that they've gained in corporate America and actually leverage it in a completely different industry that will pay them out residually for a lifetime. And so that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to talk about. So hopefully you lean in and learn a little bit today. I want to start by just sharing with you my story. So, you know, I was a corporate professional, like many of you, a leader in the pharma industry, trading a significant amount of time for a significant amount of money. I was making multiple six figures, but we were still in huge debt because I borrowed a lot of money for college. I have a doctorate and a master's and an undergraduate degree. And I was paying that off and in the corporate grind. I had 2 small kids in diapers, and I was gone a lot. I didn't see my husband much. I didn't see my kids much. I had other people raising our family. But the money was coming in as long as I was trading that time for money. So that's kind of where I was, and I was exhausted, and many of you can relate to this. It's like this snowball when you're getting into the thick of your career in your mid-30s and you're really proving yourself. I find that a lot of people sacrifice their health to get ahead, and that's what was beginning to happen for me. And I climbed the corporate ladder quickly at a cost. And one day I just decided something's got to change. And so I resorted to some nutrition after doing some research. Given my background, I wasn't going to put anything in my body that wasn't like phenomenal. And I found Isagenix, and I was an accidental entrepreneur because I had absolutely no interest, none, in the business. As a matter of fact, I thought it was a pyramid scheme, that it was slimy. I didn't understand it, right? But I love the products. I got the products in my body. It was easy to go, on the go, traveling, planes, trains, and automobiles in the middle of nowhere. I could drink a very nutrient-dense shake, keep me nourished, keep my energy levels high so I could perform for the rest of the day. By the end of my first 30 days with the nutrition, I can tell you now, I mean, I was a better person. I was a better employee. I was a better wife. I was a better mom, just because I was nourished and full of energy. And so anyway, that's a whole nother story. I mean, we could talk about nutrition, but this talk today is really about the business and the business opportunity. And so I leaned in and I learned the business. Coincidentally, after just having my life changed by the products, I was sharing by word of mouth, and I couldn't help but begin to grow a network of consumption. It was really accidental entrepreneurism at its finest, as I was going along working in corporate America. Well, over time, many of you have experienced this, restructures, consolidations. I mean, year after year after year of this. So I had on the surface this financial success, right? Like I had this shiny position and title, but the reality was at any given moment, it could be ripped out from under me and taken away from me. And I'm not sure how many months our family could have survived without pulling into our 401ks, if that were the case. So I lost a lot of sleep because I was not financially free. I was financially successful, but I wasn't financially free, meaning many times the company reorganized and told me, hey, you know what, this is your new territory. Now you've got to travel more. Now you've got to take more flights, more days away from family. And, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but you don't have a job. And that's where I mean, like, no control, right? I had no control. And so, and you know, not to mention even vacation time. The vacation I took, many times had to bring my computer. I was on conference calls. I feel like every beach trip that our family took every year. So there was no freedom. And I know that many of you can relate to that. So fast forward through my Isagenix journey and kind of leaning in and learning a little bit more about the business model and opening my mind to e-commerce, opening my mind to the gig economy, opening my mind to the concept that people are more open now to working remotely and not going to an office than ever before. Millennials and beyond refuse. They don't want to go into an office. And so really, word of mouth and e-commerce is where business is headed. And so when I got my head out of a hole, and I leaned in and I began learning the business model, I actually, in less than 2 years, created an income-producing asset for myself of over $100,000 annually while working full-time in corporate America with 2 little kids, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it, right? It wasn't without work and perseverance and grit and some great coaching, but it was done, right? And so I was able to pay off over $100,000 in college loans while I was working full-time. And I'll never forget getting to the crossroads in my career where I was given an ultimatum after my 3rd child was born that I could either go through an interview process, go through a restructure, and take a position that I did not want, that did not serve me, all after being on maternity leave for 2 weeks, or I could lose my job. And that was the first time in my life that I felt complete financial freedom and power and control. Because it was the first time in my life that I was able to put my foot down and fire my boss. I was able to say, that doesn't serve me. I don't need this. And thank you, but no thank you. And I couldn't have envisioned 5 years ago having that kind of power and freedom. Like if you had spoken to me about this, I wouldn't have believed you. And many of you are watching this saying, oh, that's just a bunch of hogwash, right? That I was you. That's okay. I've been there, but I'm not going to give up on you. And I'm not going to give up on my network because I want you guys to realize that this is a legitimate opportunity. So I just want to tee up a little bit about cash flow and how it aligns to Isagenix, the business I'm a part of. And then I'll wrap up. And if it's something that you want to lean in and learn a little bit more about, then feel free to DM me or pop a message down in the comment section. So let me take you back to Robert Kiyosaki. Many of you are familiar with him. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Business of the 21st Century, right? He talks about cash flow. We all fall into his 4 quadrants of cash flow somewhere. You're either on the left side of his quadrant or the right side of his quadrant. And let me just take a step back. If you're not familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, his books are all about creating financial freedom. It's about creating income-producing assets for yourself so that you're not trading time for money, but rather you're able to walk away and your money works for you and you have more free time to do what you want, when you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want to, which is where I am today. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm taking my kids to watch a movie right after this at lunchtime because I can. So let's talk about Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant and let's reflect on where you are today. So on the left side of the quadrant, we have the self-employed on the top and the employed on the top and then the self-employed below, all on the left side of the quadrant. This is where 95% of our country falls, is over on the left side, either employed or self-employed. No matter which category, you're still trading time for money. So if you're employed like I was, you have to show up to get paid. If I were to get hurt or I were to leave that position, I would no longer get paid. The moment that I'm not there, I'm not being compensated. And that doesn't matter if you're a surgeon or a blue-collar worker, you're still trading time for money. Okay, that's the left side. What's interesting is that's 95% of our population, but only 5% of the wealth. 5% of the wealth in our world, okay? Now, when you shift over to the right side of his quadrant, that's where we're talking about business owners and investors. Now, business owners and investors, their income does not depend on their specific act of work. And that's where I fall today in my network marketing company. When you shift over to the right side of the quadrant, you typically think of real estate investors or investment banking. The reality is it's not most people's reality, because you have to have a lot of money to invest, or the knowledge and the training. And you have to have a lot of guts to take risk. And so not a lot of people ever fall into the right side of the quadrant. Now, the right side of the quadrant, there's only 5% of our population, but guess what? It's 95% of our wealth. 95% of our wealth falls on the right side, where it's residual and leveraged income, where people are producing an income without actively having to be there to produce the income. I don't know about you guys, but that is where I wanted to be when I finally caught wind of income producing assets and leveraged income and residual income. And so most people think, for the everyday Joe, that it's not possible. They just think it's not possible. And I'm here to tell you that it is. There's one of the greatest equalizers in all of the world, and that's network marketing. And so how it applies to network marketing is that we build an asset. Our income producing asset is our network of mass consumption, of committed consumers who are participating in the global growth and expansion of the company. And so what I want to do over the next couple of minutes is just walk you through how our company aligns to Robert Kiyosaki's quadrants, because we actually do have income that's based on the left-hand side that a lot of people on my team specifically fall into. They love making $25,000 to $50,000 additional dollars a year, and they're doing it linearly on that left-hand side of the quadrant. But we also have a right-hand side of the quadrant. So the left-hand side of the quadrant is 100% of your efforts and your income, right? And on the right-hand side of the quadrant, and this goes for Robert Kiyosaki as well as our Isagenix quadrants, is that it's 1% of the efforts of 100 people, right? So I don't know about you, but I'd rather get 1% of the efforts of 100 people, including me, giving that 1% of effort, than 100% of efforts of me alone. The stakes are higher when it's just me, right? So I'm going to walk you through how our comp plan actually aligns to the cash flow quadrant of Robert Kiyosaki's book in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? So on the left-hand side of the quadrant, Isagenix has linear income, where there's a couple different categories where you can get customer acquisition. I mean, that's traditional sales, right? The company's going to give you referral bonuses for bringing in new customers. You see that at Costco. You see that at the gym, right? I mean, this is just common sense referrals, right? Then there's team building. So the company's going to compensate you on building a team, on rank advancements. Then there's also leadership development. And you see this in many places where as your team grows, you get compensated for the growth of your team and what we call leadership pools. Now, the reality is, guys, this is all still linear income. You're still trading time for money to do that. A lot of people love to do it on the side and are making incredible income doing it. But where I wanted to shift was to the millionaire mindset. And that's leverage. When you work with your network and grow a massive network of consumption, of consumable, results-oriented products that people are, if you go into your pantry today, you're already eating half of what this state-of-the-art company produces. Now you're just redirecting that spend within your own business, being shipped to your front doorstep, all from one store, super high quality, clean, results-oriented, and you were gonna eat it anyway. Now you're just participating in the global growth and expansion of a company that has a profit share, right? And as you share with your network, the company profit shares with you 6% of their sale. So, you know, I liken it to that linear side, you know, creating customer acquisition, building the teams, and creating leadership development. That catapults you over to the right side of the quadrant. Because the right side of the quadrant is that monthly mass consumption of a product, of a little bit of consumption of a lot of people within a network. I know personally I've introduced about maybe 250 people in 4 years to our products. But my network that I get compensated off of is 4,000. And that's because of the spread of word of mouth. Because when you have a product that makes people feel better, look better, sleep better, perform better, you better bet they're gonna talk about it. We have an 87% reorder rate. And when you cast a vision to people that not only are these products phenomenal, and a lot of people choose just to stay consumers and love the product, but when you teach a couple of people how to coach and recruit and go spread the word, it spreads like wildfire. I have many people that just casually share. And ultimately, you end up with a snowball effect like I have of 4,000 people consuming results-oriented products that they love and share, right? Let me review with you just a concept that many of you are familiar with, and that is the doubling of a penny. Okay, so when you, and this is all about exponential growth, and that just takes me back to that income producing asset that's your network of consumption. So when you have a penny on day one, it's worth a cent, right? How many of you really, you know the algorithm of like what it's worth at the end of 30 days if you double every day? Think about it. At day 10, when you double a penny, every day at day 10, it's already worth $5, okay? When you double from there every day, at the 20th day, it's worth $5,000. Now, go take that penny and double it till day 30. Double it until day 30, and it's now $5 million in 30 days. Now, many of you have heard that concept. Now, I want to draw a bridge and an example, a real world example of this, because this is just compound effect. It's 100% compound effect by word of mouth. And the best example I can give you are these two guys based out of Boston, Massachusetts, who founded a little company called Facebook. Now there are 3 million users worldwide, and not a single bit of money was spent on advertising. Not a single penny. All of it was spread through word of mouth. And that is, my friends, a classic example of word of mouth. And how a business can be grown through word of mouth if the product is results oriented, right? And people enjoy it, find benefit from it, right? So I want to recap here and just say that, 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't understand this. Like what I'm speaking about now, I honestly didn't think I would ever break free of the left side of the quadrant. Like I knew that I would be comfortably making multiple six figures for the rest of my life, but would never be financially free. What I mean by that is we were spending what we made, investing what we needed to we were on the 40-40-40 plan. I was gonna work for 40 hours a week, probably more like 60, 40 hours a week for 40 years to then get 40% of my income to live off of for the rest of my life. And that's what was ingrained in me because I wasn't an investor, I wasn't in real estate, and I never saw myself as 100% financially free to show up and do what I want, when I want, wherever I want, because I have an income producing asset that pays me out weekly, pays me out monthly, whether I show up or not. I'm here to tell you, I'm living it because of the gig economy, because of e-commerce, because of the demands of our market landscape and the ease of use that people want their food and nutrition delivered right to their doorstep. Fast-paced American lives, but we want to be healthy. It is the perfect storm with the millennials on board. It is the perfect storm. Our company is in absolute vertical growth, doing nearly $1 billion in sales this year. $1 billion. Don't tell me that's not a legitimate business, right? We're in 17 countries. So anyway, I just wanted to, there's much more to share. This was the tip of the iceberg, just on scratching the surface with our company and where the income opportunity really is. Next week, I'm gonna be doing a webinar that really breaks down the numbers residually on how you coming in as one person and growing your business can create a six-figure income residually for yourself while working full-time. I'll answer tough questions. I'm really looking for the highly motivated but completely burnt out, corporate professional who knows there's more to life, who's ready and open to looking at the world a different way, looking at how to create income a different way with extremely low risk, because you don't have to give up anything. I didn't give up my career. I built this business in the pockets of my time until I got to a place that I felt like I was comfortable breaking free. So there's really no risk. So if you're interested in learning more and really hearing from me, breaking down the numbers and how you can numerically build this business to a six-figure income, and you're just remotely or slightly interested, DM me, drop me a comment below. A lot of people won't drop a comment below because they're afraid that their employer will see it, and I totally get that. You feel welcome to just private message me, and I'll fold you into my live webinar next week where I'm going to be breaking down the numbers. I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. I'm going to go pick up my kids from tennis camp, and we're going to go see Toy Story 4.